Hi, I remember over 50 years ago when a man among a big crowd of his followers, Martin Luther King, declared, I have a dream. Well, today we are talking about a dream. A dream, well, let's see what happens. Joseph dreamed a dream and he told it to his brethren. We're reading from Genesis 37, 5 to 8. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. I have dreamed some very, very, very visual dreams. You see, I don't know about you, but I dream in technicolor, in great detail. And some of these dreams are very weird, I'll tell you. So Joseph said, Behold, we were binding sheaves in the field. It must have been harvest time. And lo, my sheaf rose up and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about. They also stood up. But they made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said to him, Shall you indeed reign over us? Or shall you indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. Whoa, now that is a strong piece of passage here. So, to set the record straight, in the eyes of 10 of Jacob's sons, Joseph was hated because he was a vicious tattletale, a pretentious do-gooder, and daddy's all-time favorite son. But one night, Joseph had a dream which vividly stayed in his memory. Because it was so unusual in its detail, Joseph spoke it out. He declared it. The result was that his brothers, as the Bible puts it, hated him yet more. Now, being in a position of hindsight, we look back in our position right now in the 21st century. When we look back, we know that God declared to all present by a dream what should come to pass. You see, often dreams have meanings. Most of the time now, no. We have all these chemicals in the foods and they give us nightmares sometimes. But here we go. Joseph said to his brothers, Hear, I pray you, the dream which I have dreamed. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the field. We just read that. And suddenly my sheaf rose up and stood upright. And behold, your sheaves came round about them and bowed down to my sheaf. Oh, this is how simply worded it was in the Jewish Publication Society Old Testament. Bow down to my sheaf. But the translators of the Authorized Version, otherwise known as the King James Version, replaced bow down with made obeisance. That means basically worshiping. Understandably, why else bow down but to make obeisance? So now, as a dream, being the baby of the family in the simplicity of his heart, and not imagining any meaning at all to it, Joseph declared his dream not intending to affront them or insult them, but as an amusement. He thought it would be a diversion for all the crazy stuff that was going on. Because he thought, well, isn't this a weird, ridiculous dream? My sheep stood up, and all the sheep went, "Wah, wah, wah, wah." I'll tell you, bowing down to my sheep. Oh, that's so weird. Don't you think that's weird? Now, the meaning of the dream was immediately understood by the brothers. Though Joseph was clueless, he didn't even see it. Unfortunately, his brothers assumed he did, and that he told it to them to brag, just to irritate them. Wow. For this very reason, after he had told them his dream, his brother said to him, "Shall thou indeed reign over us? Or shall thou indeed have dominion over us?" Now, in modern English, it would probably sound like this. How could you ever imagine that you would rule over us? Come on. Are you nuts? Yeah. So they hated him even more because of his dreams and his words. That's what the Bible says. It seems that perhaps he had told them about more dreams before this. Uh-oh. Now that would spell trouble now, wouldn't it? As for his words, when it says here, they hated him yet more for his dreams and for his words. Back in verse 2, as one of the shepherds in charge, that's what Jacob did. Jacob sent Joseph out to shepherd the flock. That implies that he was put in authority. So now, as one in authority, Joseph had to make regular reports to his dad. And so it was understandable for his brothers, especially the four from Bilhah and Zilpah, whom he gave an evil report about, to thoroughly detest him for his words. You see, there is no question in my mind. There is no question that Joseph was a spoiled child. But his standards of righteousness were beyond that of being a spoiled brat. He had moral standards, believe it or not. He was just too naive to know when to stop and when it was time to keep quiet. He dreamed that dream, being in the position he was. Uh-oh, that spells trouble. In other words, Joseph totally lacked wisdom. When I think about it, do you realize that when Joseph was sent in to check on his brothers, he was sent into a hornet's nest. He was sent like a sheep into the slaughter. Folks, many Christians I know are very, very similar to Joseph. Instead of being careful with their honest words, they blurt them out and wonder why they're not liked by both believers and non-believers. I've known somebody like that. As a matter of fact, I used to be like one of those. I would go out street preaching. And declare the truth. And you know what? I would often say, let me be brutally frank with you. Brutally honest with you. Folks, when people say that, they're often more brutal than honest. They are. Jesus had something to say about that many centuries later when he spoke to the disciples in Matthew 10:16. He used to send his disciples out to preach the gospel of the kingdom. And this is what Jesus had to say. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Do you realize this verse characterized, it described both discernment and discretion? And Joseph had neither.